Yes. So let me officially welcome you to the Learn to Build Real World website with HTML5 and CSS. Thank you all so much for registering. Thank you for trusting me with your progress, your journey, your tech journey. I can't wait to guide you through becoming a web developer. Yes. Let me confirm. Are we all with our laptops?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Isaac is. Frances, how about you? Jane, how about you? Okay, Frances is. Also, have we all? I sent a software for us to install earlier today. Um, please let me know if you've installed it. If you've not, we may not use it today. We actually we are going to use it. Sorry, but you don't have to use it today. I'm going to show you an alternative to that. But um, just try as much as possible. I sent it earlier today. Try as much as possible to install it before next class on Wednesday. So just very important information that I'll need you to know before we move on. Um, so yeah, the program starts today, all right, and will be ending on the 26th of November. That's a month tomorrow. Okay, so Friday, 26th November, that's when we are going to be ending. Okay, and classes will hold Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays by this time. 6 p.m. on Mondays, 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, 6 p.m. on Fridays. You have paid for the class. So if you don't come, no problem. Either which way, recordings will be available for the class. Okay. And I'll share the recording with you. Right immediately after the class, I'll share the recording with you. Okay. So you don't have anything to worry about. Also, if you have any questions, if you have any inquiry, if you have any worry whatsoever, maybe difficulty installing your stuff or any challenge whatsoever, just you can just leave a message in the group and I'm going to attend to it personally. Okay. Also, as you make progress, please share your progress with me or on social media and then tag me. All right. That's quite important. And then finally, I'll give you more information about this one. I'll try to get freelance gigs for you. All right, that will either improve you or at the end of the day, you know, just provide more money for you basically. All right, so this is not going to be a waste of time. I can assure you that. So we're in for a ride. All right, so let me share my screen now. You can see my slides. Share screen. Coming. Uh, can you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah, I can see.
Okay. All right. All right. So Voila, learn to build your own websites with HTML5 and CSS3. Um, this is some theory aspects. So I'll try to. The first part of this module is theory. So I'll try to hurry this part up so that we can get started with HTML immediately. Okay. So um, you can always stop me if you think I'm going too fast, and you can always let me know if you think I'm going too slow. Okay. The most important thing is you understand everything that I'm going to share with you and you can use it basically. So yes, what's in this lecture? What are we going to do today? We'll talk about what web development is, career choices in web development, technologies and tools used in web development, how to learn to code, factors for success, and then we'll move on to fundamentals of HTML proper. We'll start writing HTML code today. All right. So get up for that. Who am I? See the beautiful boy on. Don't mind me. Who am I? I'm a software developer with quite a number of experience of years of experience in full stack web development. Okay. Currently I work at Bulos Enterprises. Many of you may not have heard of the name Bulos, but you have used one of our products. I'm very sure. Okay. We manufacture tissue paper here, but I work as a front end developer for them. And on the side, I work as a freelance developer. So I've managed to build some one or two things for people in and out of Lagos, basically. So um, you are not going to be wasting your time. You are going to be learning from someone who has been here in the industry. Okay. Then so what we'll build in this course, I want to show you the two things that we are going to build here. Um, let's start with this share screen. Let's start with the second one. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So this is actually the second project. Right after this, I'll show you the first one. So we are going to actually build this. This is Figma. This is a Figma design. All right. We're actually going to write this code from scratch. All right. And for this particular one, we're actually going to make it mobile responsive as well. So we are going to target mobile devices, tablets, and then desktop devices. So mobile responsiveness just talk about how your website is going to look on different viewports, on different devices. So we are going to make this mobile responsive as well. So you have this, we're going to do this from scratch. All right. And then while we are going to be working on this, I'm going to teach you how to work with Figma. All right. So a lot of front end developers really don't know how to use Figma. So I'm actually going to show you how to use Figma to build websites as well. Of course, you're not the one that is designing. Maybe for Figma, if you are using a Figma design, someone, a UI or UX developer would have developed it on Figma and then probably shared with you the link, shared with you all the assets used, pictures, icons, illustrations, and all those things. And then you can um, download it or export it and then use on your own development environment. So that's for this project. And let me show you the second one. Uh, so the second one, I've actually deployed it. So if you can actually check it out now, wherever you are. So if you visit this link, data warehouse g dot vessel dot app. So if you visit this link, it will take you to the second one. This is the first project we're actually going to build together. All right. Just to incorporate everything that you're going to learn together. So we're going to build this. It's going to be quite interesting. Quite interesting. A lot of with the tools and what you're going to learn with me, you're going to see that a lot of major industries, businesses, big brands actually code like this. All right. If you check websites, I can assure you that not many websites are this cool. Okay. So if you can do something like this, you are good. You are good to go. Okay. So we're going to do this during the course of the program. All right. So let's get on to my slides. So I've shown you what we are going to build. So now let's start proper. What's web development? Web development refers to the actions, operations required to build, maintain, and manage a website in order to ensure its performance and user experience are optimal. Basically, everything that you do to build a website, maintenance, user experience, user interface, all of those things, you know, that's what web development is. You're writing code. Maybe you have a designer, like I said, who has given you a UI and UX design, and then you're following through that design. All right, using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and modern web development technologies. So, not to bore you with some lectures, some. All right, so career choices in web development. There are three. Okay, you have front end, you have back end, you have full stack. And I'm going to try to explain this properly to you. So, what's front end development? Every single thing that you can see. Okay, every single thing. Once you visit the website, maybe you visit, well, probably affiliated to Covenant University here. You visit Covenant University's website, for instance. All those things you can see, the visuals, the presentation, the front end. That's what front end development is. So I wrote here in my notes, transforming user interface designs into code that users can interact with. I showed you a Figma design now. Nothing happens when you click a button. Nothing happens when you hover over an element or a card or whatever it is, you know. But with the code itself, you can actually write all those events. What happens when a user clicks a button? What happens when a user hovers over this button? What happens when someone submits a form? You know, all of those things. So you have the front end development, what you can see, as the name suggests, what you can see. Okay. You have back end development, and that has to do fundamentally with working with databases. So you want your front end to communicate with a database. All right, now you have incorporated both a front end and a back end, and that's what backend is. So creating and managing the server and database of a website. There are different tools for this. I'll share a couple with you now. And then you have full stack development. So understanding both front end and back end processes and functions in building and deploying a website. So what's full stack? That's what full stack development is. You're a front end developer, you're a back end developer, you're a full stack developer. Do you understand? So we move on. So these are modern web development technologies. I'm going to be teaching you the first two, HTML5 and CSS3. All right. So this logo here is HTML5. This is CSS3. This is JavaScript. All right. These are front end. Okay, JavaScript is more of a broad programming language. Okay, but HTML, CSS, you have that for front end basically, and then you have this one here is React. All right, so you have React, Angular, and Vue. These are front end frameworks. React is a library, but these three are frameworks. I'm going to share with you all of these things are. Then you have this. This is Laravel. This is a PHP framework. PHP is a backend programming language. Node.js, which is this logo here, is also a backend programming language. And then you have SAS. You have SAS. SAS is a CSS preprocessor. Okay, this is just boring stats. You can check it out with the link. I'm going to share the slides with you, so you don't have to worry about anything. So now, how to learn to code? I wrote three things here. Choose a career path. I've shown you what the three are: front end, back end, and then full stack. So just choose one, and then channel your time, channel your resources, channel your learning to that. Do you understand? So I am a front end developer. Okay, since I started learning to code in 2016, I've done back end, I've done front end, but I no longer want to do anything called backend. So I've chosen to just remain a front end developer, and that's where I'm sticking. All right. So choose a career path like I've shown you. Now I'm going to be teaching you HTML and CSS. Along the line, you may find out that oh, I don't just want to stop here. I want to actually start doing backend. I want to work with databases. Well, then you move to backend. Okay. But the most important thing is choosing a career path and then channeling your time and resources and becoming good at it. All right. Identify your learning method. There are different ways people learn. All right. I know some people who do not learn with videos. All right. Some people just read the language documentation and then they move on like that. So identify how you like to learn and then learn that way. All right, but the most important thing, which I also capitalize as you can see, it's learn by doing. There's no better way to learn than actually writing code. So no matter how many tutorials you watch, no matter how many of these lectures you listen to, no matter what, if you don't write code, if you don't sit down on your laptop and actually write code, you are not going to be good. All right, you may think you know the theory of heart, but the best way to learn is by doing. So now, what do I now have to do? Now, like I wrote here, think of personal projects to work on and just build. Okay, just maybe you just want to work on a job portal, or you have an idea that you're passionate about. Just write the code and start working on it. Okay, that's the best way to learn. There are various websites you can just search on Google. Web development inspiration. They can just give you inspiration to build anything you want to build. But to get better at this coding thing, you have to learn by doing. There's no better way. There's no other way. Okay. That this is very important. The learning by doing is so important. And that's why this course is structured in such a way. We are going to build two projects. So at the end of the course, you actually have two portfolio worthy projects. Okay. So and you are not just watching me code, you are actually going to be learning and you are going to be writing the code yourself. Do you understand? So that's very important. I'm not going to bore you with theories. You are going to write code and we'll soon start. All right. So now I'm assuming I'm a front-end developer. So that's why I have just an ideal front-end developer roadmap here. All right. Maybe you want to be the front-end developer. You want to be a front-end developer and you want to just stick to front-end. I've arranged a developer roadmap here for you. Things that you need to learn. And after this learning curve, you are fit to be a front-end developer, apply for jobs and anything. HTML and CSS. I'm going to teach you that. And then you have CSS preprocessors. You have things like SAS, you have things like less. You can just look up these things on Google. All right. So you can learn that. Then of course you have to learn JavaScript. You have to learn JavaScript. All right. You learn the raw JavaScript. You learn how to write code in JavaScript programming language. This is where programming actually starts. Learning JavaScript, you've actually started writing code as a programmer. Do you understand? Then learn a JavaScript framework. You have things like React. I showed you React, Vue, or Angular. All right, those are JavaScript frameworks. So you can learn one, and then learn TypeScript. TypeScript is just JavaScript with types. It's a stricter way of writing JavaScript code. All right, so once you are good with this, you are free to write code anywhere, and not just good theoretically. Like I said, you've actually built something. You know how to build with it. All right, most of these things, they also have their own roadmap. For instance, JavaScript, what things that you actually need to know how to do, working with APIs, loops, iterations, things like that. You must know how to do all those things. All right. Factors for success, these are just boring things. But the most important thing here is the consistency. All right. As much as possible, try to write code every day. Try to write code every single day. There's no better way to get better at it. All right. Be consistent at it. Write code every day. Research, do your research. Learn how to use Google. Google is a powerful platform, is a powerful tool. Learn how to use Google. Search whatever you want to know. And of course, if you're not clear about anything, you can always ask and I will help you with it. Okay. So now it's time to actually start writing code. Um Give me a moment. Let me prepare my IDE. All right. I don't know if you've installed this thing yet, Visual Studio Code. How many of you have it installed? I think just Isaac. I'm going to turn off my video now so that the video is not large when I share it. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jane, I want to hear your voice. Can you hear me? All right. Are you with your laptop? Eh? Okay. Okay, let me show you an alternative, yeah? Let me show if you just in case you don't have it installed yet. All right, let me show you what to use. Just visit this link, vscode.dev. Visit this link, vscode.dev. It's going to open a virtual development IDE. All right, it's going to bring out this for you. Now you can write code here. All right, you can create a new file and do all of those things. All right. All right, so just in case you don't have the software installed, I'm going to be using the software. All right, so that I can show you some other stuff. But in case you don't have it, just visit this link, vscode.dev, and just follow me as I write code. Okay, right. All right, so what is HTML? HTML, first of all, is not a programming language. Okay, contrary to popular opinion that HTML is not a programming language. It is a markup language that tells web browsers how to structure the web pages you visit. So maybe you have the question, what happens when you click on, say facebook.com on your browser? All right. And so your browser has to understand how to pass web pages from a remote server and then bring out the result and show to you. Okay. So HTML is not a programming language, it's just a markup language that tells web browsers how to structure the web pages you visit. Okay. And then here, I want to show you the HTML document structure. This is so important. First of all, let's create a new file if you are following. So you click on file and then you have new file here. All right, so I've created a file. We have to save this as a HTML file. Okay, so you have to go to file, save as, and then I'm going to create a folder in my desktop and say get started lectures. And then let's say I save it as index.html. index.html. Now you can write HTML code. All right. Please let me know if you are following. If you have done this, let me know.
Yeah, I've done it, sir.
Okay. Isaac has. Who else? Francis, are you with me? Are you following? You've done it? You will have to take me to the charts. All right. So I understand that maybe your place is noisy and stuff like that. So yes, better. Okay, yeah. So we've done that. What I want to show you is a HTML document structure. All right. I'll explain all of these things. You don't have to worry about anything. All right. So before this, let's see. Right. All right. So talking about a HTML document structure. This is how every website is structured. Every single website you visit. This is how it has a structure that looks like this. All right. Um, this just tells web browsers that, oh, this is a HTML file. All right. This doc type, it means document type, HTML. All right. Then, and of course, you can see it starts with an exclamation mark. All right. Then you have HTML being the next element. I'm going to explain what elements are right after this. So you have HTML being an opening element, and then you have another HTML here. So now both the head, as you can see here, both the head tags and the body tags are enclosed into the HTML tag. So the very last line of every single website is this. This is it. All right. So you have your head tag and then you have your body tag. So everything that describes your website goes into the body tag, the content people can see and relate with. So maybe you have, let's say, a header tag, for instance, which I'm going to explain. So you don't have to worry yourself. So you have a header tag, say hello world. I don't know why people who learn to write code for the first time, they must type hello world first. So, anyways, let's go with the flow. So you have H1, hello world. All right. So every single thing that everybody can see goes into the body tag. And then when you come to the head tag, these are things that just give some form of description to your website. They are not necessarily things that they can see. So in the head tag, you have a meta tag and you have a title. So right now I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this, and to run it, remember we created a file in desktop. We created a file in desktop and called it get started. I don't think you can see my screen, so let me share it now. Let me share that part. So I have desktop and then get started lectures. Where is it? Get started lectures. Where did I create it? Yeah. Okay, say why is it not sorted? Refresh. So yes, get started lectures. So this is what we just created. Yeah, you can double click on it to run it. Voila, you have your very first web page. All right. Now, if I take you back to the code to show you some things. So you see where we have our title, my first web page. That's what you're going to see on your browser. Here. What you can see here, that's what was on the title. All right. And of course, you can see your hello world here as the content on your website. So this is basically describing the HTML document structure. So like I said, every single website that you have seen, every single website that you have seen, they have this structure in common. All right. I could show you how I built a website where you registered from getstarted.com. I could show you the structure of that one. Is similar, but that is not HTML. It was not done with HTML and CSS. It was done with React. So I can't show that to you because you don't know much about JavaScript, and this course doesn't cover that. All right. So back to the lecture slides. So I've explained the HTML document structure to you. We have next syntax of HTML elements. So the next thing we're talking about now is syntax of HTML elements. So like I said, almost every single element in HTML have opening and closing tags. So this HTML tag is an opening tag, and this is the closing tag. This head tag, this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag. So we're going to take this out and we are going to write it again. So just so you can see. All right. So you have HTML. My text editor is going to autocomplete it, but that's fine. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So this is how you close a HTML tag. So you start with this and then your slash. All right, and then you type the name of the tag. All right. Not all tags are opening and have closing tags. Some are just single tags like that. All right, and I'm going to come to that. Okay, but every web page is structured this way. So inside the HTML, like I said, you have your opening head tag and your closing head tag. Inside this, you have your title. You can write your title inside your body tag. You can write this title, you can write it inside, of course, except you mean something else. But for it to show as the title of the web page there, like I showed you, you can't have it any other place. All right. So then you have your body tag, and then you can have an opening H1. I'll explain what H1 is later. And then you say hello world. So yes, you can write on your social media bio now that you are a web developer. You can write hello world with HTML and CSS. That is very, very good. Okay. So I've shown you about tags. I've explained to you elements. All right. There are a lot of HTML is comprises of a lot of elements. A lot of elements. So you have this header element, and I will show you a whole lot more elements. Of course, even as you do the project, you're going to learn a lot more about elements. So that's no problem. All right. But I want to show you something else called attributes. All right. And with that, I'm going to explain what this meta tag is. So you have this meta name. Name, author, sorry about that, content. All right, so meta tags basically are things that describe the metadata of your website. All right, and metadata is so important because they help search engines. It gives more details to your search engine. So for instance, you make a search on Google. I wish I could show you that. Let me see if I can show you that. Okay, yes, I'm going to show it to you. So now this is a Google search engine screen. Yeah, I typed how to code. This information is gotten from your meta tag. So you can have meta name, description, and then you write all of these things. So when you search on Google, this is the information that is going to come out. This is because it has a meta tag. Let me see if there's one that does not have, and to just show you, is a poor size. All right, most of them have. So you have the name and you have a description. So they help search engine, and of course, some people use screen readers to visit websites. All right, it gives more information to screen readers as well. All right, not just meta tags. There's also something else called semantic HTML, which I'm going to explain to you. All right, it gives more information to screen readers, and then it helps search engine optimizes your website properly. All right, that is so important. That is so important as well. All right, but let me get back to my code. So yes, this thing here called name equals to author, this stuff here is called an attribute. Now, in the layman term, what's an attribute? An attribute is something that describes or gives more information about something. Okay, an attribute is something that gives more information to something. Yes, Francis, I'm on the Visual Studio Code screen now. You're going to get the lecture slides, so you don't have anything to worry about. All right. So yes, like I was saying, name equals to author. What you can see here, it is an attribute. Content equals to, and then you can see my name, is an attribute. And an attribute is what gives more information to an element. All right. So maybe you want to style a particular element differently. You can add a class attribute. Okay. And then you use your CSS to style that particular element. I beg your pardon. Use your CSS to style that particular element in the way you want it to be. So, for instance, just to show you or explain what attributes are properly, look at this H1 here. All right. Say I want to make the color, I want to change the color to red. All right, I can add a style attribute. All right, and say color red. Now if I run this, let me run it. Mm. So if I come here and I refresh, you see the color has changed to red. So I can add, let's add a paragraph to this. Let's add a paragraph. So to add a paragraph, you just use the p tag. Okay, open and closing. Okay, so you can say, I'm the very best web developer you will come across. So now I've added a paragraph. This is the paragraph here. I can change the color of this paragraph to blue. And you do that, like I said, by adding the style attributes. And then,
Sorry, I didn't see the visual code. You're still on the browser page.
okay, I'm still on the browser. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll change that now. Yes, add the style, color blue. Now, if you run this again, I don't know why Visual Studio Code is not allowing me share the entirety of my screen, but I'll check that out and it won't happen again in the next class. So we move. This should be blue now, as you can see. Why is that blue? Because I used an attribute to give more information regarding how I want my paragraph element to look like. Okay, and a lot of elements have attributes that you need. For instance, maybe you want to add an image. An image has its own attributes. So where do you want to get your image from? How do you want to describe your image in case it's not found? I don't know if many of you have tried to open Instagram at a point and then you did not see, maybe you didn't have network and then the picture did not load and then it's writing texts, two people standing trying to drink water or something like that. That's an alt text from an image. Okay, it's telling you, oh, just in case this image is not found, write this image. Write, read, show them this text basically. All right. Not just for you who is seeing the website, also for screen readers as well. People, I don't know if you visited a web page and then you told your browser to actually read it out for you using a screen reader. Okay, so when it gets to that image, it's actually going to read out the alt text for you. All right, because it cannot read an image except you provide an alt text to it. All right, and I'm going to explain all of those things when we get there. All right, so that's for that with tags, elements, and attributes. So just a quick recap on tags, elements, and attributes. Tags have opening and closing tags, but not, sorry, elements have opening and closing tags, but not all elements have opening and closing tags. Let me show you an element that does not have an opening and a closing tag. So back to the code. So let's draw. This cannot give. This does not have a closing tag, so it is self-closing. It's a single tag on its own. I did not write HR and then this. You see, it did not even want to complete it for me. So this is wrong because HR simply means horizontal line. All right, and I'll show you right about now what it does. Okay, so this is just a single tag. So you close it like this. Okay, let me run this. If I go and refresh my screen, so this is what it does. It just adds this line here. Okay, so let me even show you where we will use this in our website. So this is one of the projects we're going to work on. You can see a horizontal line here. Okay, so that's for that. And remember, it is just a self-closing tag. There are also a number of tags that are just self-closing. You have a line break. Let me show you that one. Back to my code. So let's say we have a text paragraph. My name is Clinton. Hmm? If you press N, okay, just let me just move on. My name is Clinton. I attended Covenant University. I studied computer science. So now you have this. All right. I still want to show you another tag that is self-closing. Okay. Um, let's check how this is going to look like first before any other thing. So if you come to this and you refresh, you have a paragraph. My name is Clinton. I attended Covenant University. I studied computer science. But I attended Covenant University to be in the next line, and I studied computer science to be in the line after I attended Covenant University. But I want it to still be in the same paragraph text. How am I going to do that? So that's where you have the line break element, which is also a self-closing element. So if you come to my code, and then I did I say had? Hey, I'm from Anambra State, or not Oyo State. BR had BR. Please don't ask me why it is automatically going down. This class is not for that. All right, maybe after the class I'll share with you what I use. But moving on. So I added a single tag called line break, another single tag called line break here. Right? So watch what happens when I refresh the page. So you come here, you see attended Covenant University is right down there. I studied computer science right on there. All right. So with the single tag called line break, the BR tag, you can break paragraph lines into multiple lines. Do you understand? So so let's now do another quick recap on tags, elements, and attributes. So I've shown you what an attribute is. All right, things that give more information to your elements. All right, you can have the style, you can have the class, you can have the ID, and various other things. All right, and then attributes give more information. Okay, I just talked about that. And then elements, you have the paragraph elements, you have the head elements, you have the body elements, all of those things. Okay, let me show you what an element is. Back to the code. I just realized that I did not talk about what element is properly. So you come here. All right. Now this entire thing that I highlighted here is an element. P is the tag. This is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. All right. This is the single line tag called line break. This is the content inside the paragraph tag, but this entire block of code is an element. Do you understand? This is the paragraph element. This entire block of code is the body element. This entire thing here is the head element. Do you understand? So you can have different elements basically, right? Because a HTML page is made up of different elements fundamentally. Okay, so that's about that. Back to the lecture slides. So what's next? Semantic HTML. This is long. All right, there are three different things I'm going to talk about here. Um, Semantic HTML section, semantic HTML grouping elements, semantic HTML text level. But before I take you back to the Visual Studio Code, please, if I move on, I want to ask if you are following. So just quick feedback. If you have any question, do you have any question you want to ask me? Please let me know. If not, just say Clinton, move on, or I'm good, or something.
I'm good, sir.
Okay. Francis, let me get your feedback. Jane, let me get your feedback. Jane, are you good? Francis, are you good? Did they leave a text for me there? Okay. Francis is good. Okay. 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 Brace up. This is going to be quite long. Okay. Because it's very important. Very, very important. This is going to form the building block of almost everything that we're going to do in this course. All right. So let's talk about semantic HTML. What part of my screen can you see? Semantic HTML, yeah?
Yes, sir, I can see semantic HTML.
All right, so semantic HTML. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML or semantic markup is HTML that introduces meaning to the web page rather than just presentation. And just on in the next slide, I'm going to show you an image that describes that. So now, on the left side, which is this, you can see different elements and tags and attributes here. And on the right place, you can see the same thing. Okay, so normally prior to a while ago, a lot of people just use a block level element called div. You can see the div here. People just use the div element to wrap up every single thing that they want to do. So you want to create a hero page, for instance, or a hero element, for instance, and then you just create a block level element called div and say div and then give it an attribute called class with the value of header. All right, and then oh, you want to create a navigation bar, you now create another div and name it the class of nav, and then use your css to style it differently, as you can see here. But with semantic HTML, rather than just using div classes every single place, just there are specific names of elements that give more description to whatever section of your page that you are working on. Okay, so you have the header element. Now you have the nav element. All right, you want to create a navigation for your web page, you use the nav element, not just div with the class of nav. All right, you have different sections of your web page. So say for instance you are building a single page website where your home page, your home section, your about section, your services section, your contact section, your footer, everything is um on your index of HTML. All right. So instead of creating div and giving a class with the value of section, all right, you just have a section element that you can use. Okay, so you section, maybe give it an ID of header. I'm going to show you all these things just in case you're not understanding. Okay, so give it a section for the header, a section for a section for say the contact page, a section for the services, a section for the about us, and things like that. Okay, basically if you do this it will work. If you do the one on the left it will work. If you do the one on the right it will work. But the reason why semantic over div is because of almost the same reasons that I've been saying before. All right, SEO, which is search engine optimization, for search engines like Google and Bing and all of those search engines to actually be able to interpret your website properly, you should use semantic HTML, because semantic HTML gives more description to what an element is supposed to do. Okay, so back to this. So I'm going to be showing you there's really nothing special there. Okay, I've shown you what the body element is. Okay, say we want to do I'm taking you back to the code now. Let's work on code. Share screen. Push, push. Okay, so let's create a section now. Let's create a section. Inside this section, add a h1, and then say hero page, hero section. Add a paragraph and call it this paragraph. You can freestyle your own content, it doesn't really matter. So this is just what I'm doing. This paragraph describes the hero section of my website. It doesn't do anything special. It just gives these other elements. Okay, remember what an element is, right? Everything inside a tag is the elements, including the tag itself. Okay, so this section now is the element, is the section element. Okay, so this just gives like a wrapper or a container to your header and your paragraph element. Okay, so you can go and refresh this, and then you're going to see it there. Share. So you can see hero section this. You can do it multiple times. You can create another section and say call this about us or about me. You can write something about yourself, an upcoming, or let's say I'm a novice in web development, but Clinton is about to make me a ninja. And then something to just add some color. All right. So like I said, what section just does it gives your it gives like your elements a wrapper, okay, and more description to what you are doing. Okay, we are going to actually use this when we start working on our project. Okay, so it is very, very important. Okay, so now I want to refresh the page, and then we're going to see it, right? So yeah, that's for section. You also have sharing this screen is quite okay. Back to my code. So you have section, you have article. So now inside this section here about me, let's create another section, and then that will make me use the article element properly. So create another section and call it what I do for a living. Then you can add an article element. Okay, what article does also is similar to what section does. All right, but like I said, what you are just doing with semantic HTML, you can as well just use a div element, all right, for these things. But what semantic HTML does for you is it gives you a container, a wrapper to do all these things, as well as making search engines and screen readers be able to properly interpret your web page. All right, this is how to build websites in 2021. Maybe it was different 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years ago because semantic HTML wasn't popular then, but now you don't build websites without semantic HTML. Okay. So what I do for a living, you can have an article. Inside an article, you can have, say, H3. I code can add the paragraph here. Say software engineer. Okay. Inside this, you can create another article. And then you have another H3. What else do I do? Say I eat too much. I actually don't eat too much, but just for the sake of this class, as part of what I do for a living, I eat. Say rice and beans is my favorite. This is not true about me, so don't take it to heart. You have another article. What else I do? I pray. You have to do this for a living in the spirit and in my understanding. So yes, voila. So let's refresh this and let's see what it does for me. So I come back to this, share my screen, come here. You see? So this is an article. This is under an article section. I can style this one specially. I'm going to talk to you about CSS in our next class. So I can style this one specially. I can style this one specially. I can style this one specially. Okay. So yes. What other? There are still a couple of more attributes that you can learn under this. Remember, I'm talking about sections. Okay, what you can use to give your stuff like a container or stuff. So let me take you back to my code. There was something I missed, which I want to show you now. Not like I really missed it, but just for the sake of consistency. So now, still on the same semantic HTML, you can have a header tag. Okay, and you can have your hero page here. I wish I've taught you on images. I would have added it here, but let's just add h1. Welcome to my personal website. That's the header. Okay, and then you can come and add a footer right after this section here, and add a footer, and maybe write, use, say, and copy Clinton or get started. Let me use get started tech academy. So now I've used semantic HTML all over this place. That's perfect. All right. I have my header elements, not just div with a class of header. I have my h1. This is semantic on another section anyways. And then I have my section describing the hero part. I have about, I have what I do for a living with my articles, and then I have my footer. That's proper. All right, just for the sake of viewing what we have done so far, let's check. So if I refresh this, this is what I have now. So that and copy, this is what it does. It brings out this sign for you. Just some hacks. Okay. So far, so good, right? This is past 7, and our time is fast spent. But I believe we are making good progress. What do I have to say next? Okay, I've covered sections. Now grouping elements and text level. Okay, let's just talk about grouping elements and text level quickly before we'll call it a day. Then maybe in the next class we'll continue from adding links, working with images. Okay, what part of my screen can you see now? Okay, the web page. Share my code. Before I move on, let me ask again for feedback. Any questions? Is there anything that you're not clear about that you need inquiry on?
Everything is going fine, sir.
Frances, how about you? Jane, how about you? Questions? No questions. That's quite strange. Quite strange. But anyways, for our next class on Wednesday, you're going to show me things that you have done on your own. Okay. So let's talk about grouping elements, still on semantic HTML. Now that's where this div content that I was talking about comes into play. All right. I believe you can see my code. So say you want to group say you want to group, let's just group this now. Let's say we just don't want, in this article place here, we don't just want software engineer. Say we want software engineer and then maybe phone number or something. Okay, let's wrap this in a div. What I did was copy and paste, in case you're wondering. So I have this, and then I can create another paragraph and then call it 08012345678. So now I've wrapped these two things inside a div element, which is also a block level element. Okay, and we can do this for almost every other thing. It depends on how you want to structure whatever you are building. Let's do a quick walkthrough of that Figma design so I can show you say use cases where you can actually use the div elements. Okay, so let's come to Figma. So you're on the Figma now, yeah. Just a quick walkthrough of everything that I've shown you. This navbar here that you can see will be used with the nav elements. Okay, remember. So you have the nav element that describes everything about the nav bar. But then again, you have a full hero, which is everything here. I think this should highlight it for us. Everything within this box that you can see. Okay, so now you can use the header element here. This is a good use case for that. Okay, of course, we are going to code this thing from scratch, so you are going to actually see how all of this is going to work. But you can do that here. And then if you come to this place here, um, let me show it to you. Show it to you. Now you can see this call to action that I'm currently on. You can use a div element to wrap these two things here, this, and even break it down again and use a div for the icon and play demo together. So at the end of the day, you are actually breaking your code into different pieces that you want to actually style in a specific way. Do you understand? So this can be done, say, with another section, this particular services section now, like I think I showed you that a use case. So now this particular section can be used with a section. You create a section element, then you have these four cards here. You can use the article element just here, okay, and then everything inside will be inside a div. Okay, so this is just a practical use case of where and when to use that particular element. Okay, I've shown you the div. It's a block level element used to just wrap your code into a particular container to style in a specific way. Okay, and then I've told you about the paragraph element. You know what the paragraph element is. Let me show you another element called the list element. Back to my code. All right, say you want to create a list. Okay, I'm going to do it right up here so that I don't have to take you far to see when I refresh. Okay, say my top favorite places to go to in the year, or my top favorite events I attend every year. Okay, and I want to write it in no particular order. So I want to create an unordered list. To do that, there's a list, there's an element called ul. Okay, what this does is it creates an unordered list for you. Okay, now how do I add items to this unordered list? Or before I do this, let me wrap it inside a div and then I'll give it a title. So let's say div, and then I give it a title. My top favorite events every year. Okay, and then in no particular order, let's you have your another list here, and then you have the list elements, li elements. Okay, so this is how to add items to this another list. Okay, so let's add what are my favorite events I attend every year. Of course, the first one is reboot camp. I have another list element called manifest bible course, and then I have tech conferences, either virtual or on site. And then let's say I have um a get together or something, a friends get together. How did they spell get together? Is it together? How did they spell get together? Is it together? Not many. Get together, whatever. Let's do it like this. So now let's see what happens. What this does, it creates an another list for you. So I'm going to refresh my page for you so you can see. I hope you are really following me. Please. So there was something that I did not say. Okay, so you are actually supposed, maybe in case you tried it and it did not work, okay, you actually have to save whatever you are doing and then you come and refresh. But just right after what I'm going to share with you now, I'm going to show you a better way to do it. Okay, so you can see the unordered list here, right here. Okay, if I want to make it an ordered list, an ordered list has gives you a specific numbering, or it gives you specific numbering to your list. Okay, of course, like the name suggests, ordered list. So let's just change this because it's also in the ordered way. So change. Okay, let's code it from scratch. That's more better. Or that's better. You have OL. Unordered starts with U and ordered starts with O. Okay, so you have the OL is there, and then you have your list elements, and then you have reboot scan, and then you have MVC. So if you come and refresh your site, you can see it is ordered here. Okay, that's quite important. And maybe you don't want it to use number one, number two, you want it to use maybe Roman numerals or alphabets. Okay, what you need to do is specify an attribute. Remember what an attribute is. It gives more information to an element. Okay, so I want to add a particular form of information. I don't want, by default what it gives me is number one, number two, number three, and so on and so forth. Okay, but I don't want it to do that. What I want is letters of the alphabet, basically. So you can just add the type attribute. Okay, you have your equals to, and then you have your this. In fact, my text editor is actually telling me all of them, so you can see it. I can change this to A, and then it changes. uh you can try this for others as well, just so that I don't waste your time. So if you come and refresh, you see it changes it from 1 2 to A and B. If I change it to Roman numerals, you see the same thing. If I change it to I, you see it here. I. Okay. So also this another list also has its own attributes as well. So maybe you don't want this default radio key. You can change it as well. Okay. So back to the text editor. Share my screen. So just for the record, I think if I may change it to circle, I just changed it to circle, right? So let's see this. So can you see that it has changed? It's no longer the default one. Let me change it to square so you can see. I'm changing it from circle to square. If I refresh, see square. If I take it out entirely, it goes back to the default one. Okay, which is normal filled circle. Okay, so we're going to stop here today. On Wednesday, we are going to continue right from where we stopped, and then teach you how to style with CSS and all of those things. All right. So I said during the course of the lecture, learn by doing. You learn by doing. So practice on your own. You can just let me just show you a couple of pages where you can inspire yourself. Okay. You may not need it now, but you definitely need it at some point. Okay, so is where we are. So you can visit these websites, awards.com. All right. So it shows you websites of the day. More than this, it shows you different websites. Okay. Maybe when I teach you how to start websites, you can see how you can replicate any of these things. Many of them are quite advanced, all right, because they use JavaScript and all of those event handling things. But fundamentally, if you can play around any of them that you think you can play around with, that would be awesome. You can check out behance.net. You can check out behance.net. You're going to see also different web pages. Okay, I think yes, UI UX. So yeah, exactly. So you just play around any of these designs. You can see them here, and then you can check out Dribble, of course, dribble.com. This is just to inspire you. Okay, Dribble has some amazing things as well. Yeah, so try and see if you can replicate any. Okay, we are going to do two. You can check out one more. Let me give you one more. UI store dot design. So if you come here and you go to landing pages, you're going. This is the one we are working on here. Okay, so you can see different front end designs, simple that you can play around. They're amazing. Okay, so yes, thank you so much. Let me know if you've learned a thing or two. Okay, it's very important to me that you're not wasting your time. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and we're going to continue our class on Wednesday. I'm going to teach you about forms. I'm going to teach you about images. I'm going to teach you about adding links to your web page, external links, internal links, external styles, internal styles, inline styles, forms, adding input fields, all of those things. We're going to do it on Wednesday. Hopefully, our time is going to be enough this time. Okay. No boring stuff. I'm not boring you with any lecture anymore. I've trashed out the lecture part already today. Okay, so we are going to be focusing on actually writing code now. Okay, so thank you very much. I look forward to the days ahead. Okay, so like I said before, practice, 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 practice. That is the only way to get better. Okay, so take care of yourself, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Isaac. Stop recording.